Public relations and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. We'll open with the roll call.
Mrs. Hoover? Here. Dr. Cruz?
Here.
Mrs. Cruz? Here. Mr. Krimenacher? Mrs. Krimenacher? Here. Mrs. Lee? Here. Mr. Shell? Mr. Basil? Ms. Zenshaw? Here.
Okay, Mrs. Westmonsky.
My name is Diane Waxman. I live in Susquehanna Township, 622 Municipal Road. I just have,
If you could, so into the,
well, okay, sorry. Diane Waxman from Susquehanna Township, 622 Municipal Road. I'm just here for two quick things. I want to commend our students who have finished so beautifully in their TSA and all of the things that they've done. And I also have a request. My request is if they could somehow, you know, like we go to band concerts to see beautiful performances. We go to choral concerts, we go to plays. But we've never I've never, maybe others have, but I don't really know what they do when they go to these wonderful competitions, they come home national champs. If like on a night when it's parent-teacher conference or open house or something like that, if there could be a display somehow and kids could get community service if they still do that for graduation, that they could, you know, take that, chip that off of some of the things they have to do to graduate. And they could explain to us what they do, that they do so fabulously. So that's my request. And the other thing is, I'm sorry I couldn't make the meeting of Meet the, whatever you called it, on cell phones and things like that, because I had talked about that and I'm really glad we're starting to meet on that because I had to talk to, well, I was actually at the VOTEC today and they have no cell phones at the VOTEC. So, you know, our kids that go there don't have access to any cell phones. You know, they put them and they're gone. So, you know, I think that's a really big issue that, you know, the community needs input in, but it's a good thing and I will attend. You have another one. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
thank you. Okay, we'll move into administrative reports. Principal reports, elementary.
Could we do, excuse me, could we do student recognition first?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I apologize.
So there are a few students I'd like to recognize for some of the great achievements that they've had over the last month and a half as school was ending. Ella Miller, I don't see Ella here, but Ella received a 5-year perseverance award for the PJAS state competition. So that's means she received a first place at regional 5 years in a row, was able to attend states. So that's a great honor. So I wanted to recognize her for that. Dan Farrow, I see Dan's here today. Come on down, Dan. Was our PIAA District 6 long jump and triple jump champion. He attended the state competition and he has a new school record for long jump. Make sure I get this right, 20 feet, 8.25 inches, right? And you are just moving into a sophomore, correct?
Oh, wow.
Oh, very impressive, Dan. Don't see Ben. Ben Carpinello received recognition in the Spring Heritage Conference, and he was named to the Robotics All-Conference team. Riley Stein, want to congratulate her. She was also named to the Softball All-Conference team, Spring Heritage Conference. Ella Miller, Spring Heritage Conference Girls Track All-Conference team. Dawson Schutte, Spring Heritage Conference Boys Track All-Conference team. And Reese Wagner, Spring Heritage Conference Baseball All-Conference team. And we were planning on recognizing the TSA team this evening, but they all weren't able to make it and they want to come as a group to show off the work that they've done. So we will do that at the next meeting, but just want to congratulate all of these students and all of their hard work. So we're very proud of them. Did I miss someone?
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss you?
Someone signed in late, I think.
Oh, someone signed in late to speak. Did we get another sign in for speaking? No, but I want to know.
No, I think they just picked up an agenda.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, we'll go into the administrative reports, principal and elementary.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few things. Just wanted to let everybody know that kindergarten and preschool orientation is on August 13th at 10 o'clock. So we're hoping to get those classrooms done and everything ready and prepared for the kids. We have 46 students right now registered for kindergarten. I would like to say we also have a waiting list for preschool. Most likely those students will not get in, but it's so exciting because we've really had to build that program. Many of you remember in years past, we couldn't fill those seats. So it's exciting that we now have a waiting list for that program. And it's summer, we're working on handbooks, finalizing schedules, all things summertime. So, but things are going well. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you.
Right. Middle school.
All right, just to echo what Dr. Tibbetts said, it's been a very busy summer for us here at the elementary middle school. I've had a lot of teachers that have been working with students for extended school year, completing needed trainings and reviewing curriculum. Our fifth grade orientation will be Wednesday, August 14th from 6 to 7. Very recently, a small team of teachers have been working with the IU8 to get more certified with the PBIS practices. And we're really looking forward to tightening up our procedures this upcoming school year by spending more time teaching and modeling the expectations for the students that fall right in line with the PBIS program. And finally, our full administrative team was able to attend a linkage training at the Forest Hill School District the last 2 days together, along with fellow educators from our area using that software. And I'm just very excited about the Lincoln tools because they will really help us identify students that have a lot of learning needs and what we can do and how our interventions are proving successful for the kids with what we're using. So I'm excited to put that into place.
Thank you. Okay, high school.
I know Dr. Masonic was just talking about our TSA kids stuff that I was starting off with. We had our first TSA national champion since 2005, and that is our senior solar sprint winners of Ava Messina, Ben Messina, H. Strum, and Drake Weller. And we also had 6th place national finalists in structural engineering of the Lila Native and Ava Messina. Some dates that are coming up. Our homecoming has already been planned for Friday, September 13th, and that will follow the homecoming dance on Saturday, September 14th from 7 to 9 at the high school. Mrs. Tenerovich has been working diligently on scheduling in grades 5 through 12 this summer. She's now collaborating with Ms. Mastrini, our new high school guidance counselor, and thank you for that. They are finishing up scheduling, and Mrs. Tenerovich has also agreed to be her mentor, so I think that'll be wonderful to make that transition smooth. Our custodial and summer cleaning staff have been doing a phenomenal job in the high school this summer. The floors are shiny. They've been working hard on various projects from painting curbs to various summer maintenance while the students and staff are out of the building. The high school secretaries have been working hard to prepare for the next school year. They've updated teacher and student handbooks that are there to date until some other changes might be happening. Teacher phone and room assignments, student home rooms and VOTEC lists, emergency operation plans, freshman folders, teacher folders, various calendars, and distributing supplies coming in. It's a very busy time at the high school, and there's not a lot of people there, but there's a lot going on. We are tweaking the student handbook to reflect updates from this past school year and awaiting any changes that might happen after tonight's board meeting for the town hall. Our freshman orientation is scheduled for Monday, August 12th at 6 p.m. And fall sports physicals will be August 2nd, starting at 9 with football and volleyball at the high school. And golf, cheer, and soccer will begin at 11 a.m. That's it for the high school.
Can I ask, when is Meet the Colts night? You know that yet?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can find out.
Okay, thanks. All right, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Summer has been very busy, planning for things. Board members in the manila envelope or manila folder, I've provided you with copies of minutes from the Wellness Committee and the Professional Development Committee. The EOP Trauma Team, Alice Team Committee, these are committees that I meet with yearly. And the EOP Emergency Operation Plan, that is a confidential information, and I shared that with you at the last executive session. But Wellness Committee, one of the things we looked at is maybe having a Wellness Wednesday for staffs and students. And then the Professional Development Committee, we reviewed the comprehensive plan, and the paper in your folder that has the blue at the top, that shows you the comprehensive plan and how we've been following and what we've been changing, updating, and improving. So at the end of this year, we will then move towards another comprehensive plan that we put through PDE. We reviewed the professional development plan, which is also part of the comprehensive plan. And with input from the committee, with teachers, administrators, we invited board members. Unfortunately, I know they weren't able to make it, but we planned for the upcoming school year. So I have all of that information in there. We're still in the process of adding items to the chart. There are many mandated professional development items that we must do, but of course, we will continue tweaking that and updating it. And I know it's been very nice. Teachers have been very appreciative that we include them as part of the decision-making process. And I think all of that just makes the professional development more effective, that they are definitely part of that decision. Roland, Jeff, and I have talked about an auction. We're looking at possibly doing something before August 9th. We have a slew of items that we're going to set up in probably the back gym. Have them in increments of $25. We will provide the board with pictures and list and amounts. And of course, we need to check with our solicitor to see exactly how to go through this process. But we have quite a few things. We want to get the kindergarten teachers into their rooms, and then anything that's left over to auction off. And so we're hoping to complete that by August 9th. We may need to have another auction next year, but this will be a preliminary one to help free up some room for us and to help teachers also purge any things they don't need. Title IX training. The principals and I and Mrs. Hoover, thank you, attended the Title IX training. So I'm updating the employee handbook, planning on training the staff. The handbooks will be available to the board to review in August. So the first meeting in August, you'll have all the student handbooks and you'll have the updated employee handbooks. So you'll be able to review those and accept those. Want to make sure that our coaches are being trained properly with Title IX, and then take a close look at that policy 824, which I previously sent to you, making sure that we're following, the Title IX policy with that. We also had a very successful town hall meeting. We're very excited. We had about 30 people attend. I want to thank Dr. Krug and Mrs. Hoover for attending that. Went very well. And our next one, we're planning on August 14th. That's a Wednesday in August, 7 p.m. again here. I invite public, board members, teachers, staff, and the agenda we're going to talk about is, of course, bullying, our free dinner program that we're starting here at the school, and chronic absenteeism. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, monthly financial report.
Treasurer's report for the month of June, our starting cash balance, this is just general fund, was $3,187,000. We had local source revenues of $53,500. Federal and state sources of receipts, $629,400. As well as miscellaneous revenues of $1,503,000. The $1,500,000 of that was a transfer from our affiliate fund into the checking account, so it's really not new money. It's just moving it from one to the other. Our expenditures were $4,967,000. But of that, $2,900,000 was a transfer back into the Pliget account once we had received our last of the 2023-24 BEF. So our total ending cash balance as of June 30th in the general fund is $406,457. That's in our FNB account. Now for the Pliget account, we have, the general fund balance was $3,650,076. This is all again at June 30th, which is the end of our fiscal year. The capital reserve, we have $2,264,040. The athletic fund is $136,866. Our series 2022 bonds, our current balance is $8,580,285. And our series 2023 bonds, the balance there is $9,881,454. For a grand total at the end of June of all Pliget funds of $24,512,722. One important thing that I'd like to note is that the fiscal year 23-24 total interest income from our Pliget accounts only, so this doesn't include FNB. We normally don't make a whole lot of money on FNB because of their rates, plus we don't keep much money in there. Cash basis is $973,008. Again, that's just interest earnings. When you look at that from an accrual basis, which means not just what we received, but what we really earned during that period of time, because we had some investments that we'd earned interest on right at the beginning of the year that was accrued at the end of 23, but we also had a significant amount that the interest was not quite yet paid, but we have actually earned it at that time. So our interest earnings for our fiscal year is over $1 million for the district. So that goes a long way in offsetting the interest charges that we have on our loan. One last thing, and I'll just touch on it briefly now. Everybody's heard about the state budget being passed. There's some numbers that are thrown around, and if you look at them, it will show increases and whatnot for different school districts. But what I try to do is to show the board and the public the dollar figures that I had listed as budgeted, which was passed in our final budget, versus what we are actually going to get because of the governor's budget adjustment, or the budget that was actually passed. As I spoke to you guys earlier in the year, there was talk about, a significant amount of income or a significant amount of increases. We weren't sure, and I didn't budget for those. Our budget only included what I anticipated that we were going to get, not thinking about those other funds. So I broke it down into the 5 or 6 categories of funds that we either budgeted for and received, or did not budget for, but received anyway. So our BEF, which is our basic education funding, I had budgeted, and the board again, and all of these budgeted numbers were passed by the board. I budgeted $10,082,000. We got $10,095,000 for an increase of $11,700 in our basic ed fund. Special ed funding, $959,300 was budgeted. We actually will receive $1,008,112, which is an increase of $48,812. We get a Ready to Learn grant each year, and that has been for a number of years, $242,060. We use that for kindergarten costs and some teacher salaries. But anyway, that's been in our budget for a number of years, and that's what we bought again this year. It didn't change the actual ready-to-learn block. However, these couple of items are where the significant increase has happened. I don't know if everyone remembers during the summer, or during the fall and spring, there was a basic education funding commission sat down, talked with a number of school districts and legislatures to find out what way is best to reallocate the funds for education in Pennsylvania. The commission came up with some recommendations. That's what went to the state. State did their typical governmental bargaining and came up with the budget that was passed. So the two items that were significant that Northern Cambria and all school districts should be benefiting from, to a very degree or a varied amount. Everybody didn't get the same. They based that on a lot of factors, but in any case, the ready to learn, they call that the ready to learn adequacy portion. So we never got anything for that. We just got the grant originally. The adequacy portion this year is $331,797. So that's a 100% increase in what we had budgeted. The next item was a cyber charter reimbursement. There's been a lot of talk about trying to cap cyber charter costs, try to do different things. That's a hot topic, but what all came out of it, at least in hard dollars, is that Northern Cambria will receive $101,443 to help offset our charter school costs. There is some other things in the cyber school portion that are gonna help us out, because each school district is computed differently as far as what this charter school charges us for their tuition. It's based on our numbers. So the numbers that we provide them will be changed because there's some additional factors that are gonna be helpful for the school districts that are gonna reduce the amount that charter schools can charge us for each student that goes there. So that number is not known. It's gonna be, a savings. At this point, we really don't know. And then we have a PCCD grant that we've gotten this year. That's for mental health and safety. We budgeted $129,000. That's what we got. But they also continued that. So it's not really, some of those are, where the school districts have to, fight for that money. Well, that's not how it's gonna be from at least the upcoming year. Northern Cambria will get a little bit less, but we're guaranteed to get $116,046 to offset our safety program. We typically use that for our schools, officers, and that type of stuff. So all in all, Northern Cambria received $493,786 above what we budgeted for. So that's great news. Some of that's kind of limited. We're not allowed to spend that exactly on things that, there may be a few things that we have to spend that on that we don't currently, but most of it is going to be replacing funds that we were using to spend from our general fund. So again, almost $500,000, and I look for that to actually be a little bit more once everything falls through. That's it. Good news. We'll take it.
All right, monthly maintenance report, Mr. Smith.
Okay. I've got things we've been working on. First of all, we've got to mow a couple times with the new use tractor and football. It's working great. So thank you for the purchase. It was well needed. So that's going well. High school cleaning, majority of it's done. The team has done an excellent job up there. So we'll pleased with what they did up there. And we've got a few more things to wrap up and that will be done. I have the majority of the staff down here. We're working on the middle school side of the building. That should wrap up hopefully tomorrow, and then we're gonna start over on the elementary kindergarten side, probably on Monday. So we'll continue on that until, school season starts. Football field, spent some time down there, took part of the team down a week or two ago, we did some deep cleaning down there in the locker rooms. Kind of need some attention down there, just for future use, probably in the upcoming season will be okay, but looking into the future, there's gonna be some things there we're gonna have to draw attention to, but, we'll try to narrow things down and tighten things up. See where that drives us in a year or two. It's looking pretty good down at the practice field. We started striping that today. I got the the goalpost, painted today. Field started striping, finish that tomorrow, then we'll move on down to the main football field after that. So ongoing work there. I had some fire safety out last week for the hood cleans of both cafeterias. They went well, so that's all done for the annual contract. The courtyard out here in the elementary side, I had some things we did out there. There were some boards and some of those wooden picnic tables that had to be placed. We restained all those, put down some fresh mulch, put the awnings up. I had them washed with the washing machine. They're pretty faded, but I think we'll get this season out of them, and maybe next year we can find some funds to replace them, spruce it up, but I think we're okay for this season. That tree out there in the courtyard, I really scaled that back, off with the limbs off of it to keep some of the middle moisture out of the playground area. But the roots in that tree, we're gonna have to sit and look at that at some point, get that tree removed. I think it's probably crushing some of the drain lines that's under there. Water, heavy rains, I've been noted, water's coming up through the floor, so it's probably caused by that tree. So we'll look at that. Foyer heating, air conditioning was on site today. I met with them up there, regarding that walk-in freezer. It needs a heated door seal. One's currently on there, don't work. We think that's what that issue from freezing up there. And some off time, I've been trying to do some equipment inventory, what we have in both locations. Equipment, tools, see what we have, what's good, what we try to squeak out for a year or two, what we might have to replace in a year or two. So I'll continue working on that, keep you all posted. I have All American Fire Extinguisher on site tomorrow for the annual inspection for the fire extinguishers. I got Hobart scheduled for August 8th for our elementary and middle school cafeteria dishwasher. It has a small leak in the drain tank, so we're gonna bring that out. We're gonna weld that, seal that up, so that should be fine for the upcoming school season as well. I had a train on site today. We had an issue with our chilled water unit. We couldn't get it to come online. We had some bad communication lines, so I had those replaced. And we had some low water flow issues. Not sure where that came from, but, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise that the unit did fire up today because it was under low water pressure, but got that issue resolved as well. So it's running as we speak. It's been running since 3 o'clock, doing fine, and we shouldn't have any issues moving forward. So those are some of the things I've been working on. So I have, thank you.
I just want to make one comment that, the curb appeal at the school grounds and everything, we were concerned about that a couple months ago. And I want to say that the curb appeal at the school has improved beyond my expectations. So I want to thank you and your team for that. That's very nice.
Thank you.
I would also say that I've heard from some teachers and staff who were very impressed and grateful for the turnaround time when they ask you for things too. So I just wanted to publicly let you know that word on the street is you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Dr. Cruz, I also found out Meet the Cole is August 16th.
Yeah, I got a note. Thank you very much. That helps because I'm sure he's worried about that. You know, make sure he's aware of that. So that's a big deal. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, we'll move into minute approval. Be it resolved the minutes of the June 4th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting and June 18th, 2024 regular meeting and the June 25th, 2024 special meeting are approved as presented. And I'll make that motion. Second by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carried.
Okay, treasurer and financial report be resolved. The treasurer and financial reports for June 2024 be approved as presented or amended, received and filed, and I'll make that motion too. So, Mrs. Carol Lieb. Questions or comments? I have one. I want to thank you, Mr. Bronish, for the reports you've given lately. They are excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, do we need the executive session now, guys? You got the email from Mrs. Sonic. Do we need it now, or is it okay to have it later? You good to make your decisions on the thing, or do we need to go to executive session? How do you feel? Can you make decisions without going, or do you want to go? Okay, we're good. We're gonna put the executive session at the end of the meeting, folks, okay? So we'll go to the action agenda, buildings and grounds.
Building project update. Discuss any updates on the building project and the architect's report. Hank Tassick, discussion of the water line, weight room changes, cafeteria layout revisions, and retrofitting discussion.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll go through them in order, starting with the building project. The progress seems to be moving along well. I don't know if anybody noticed when they came in, but the structural steel has all been set. They're waiting on the joists and deck. That will be set next on the addition. So that's all moving along well. The kindergarten area is ready and complete and ready for the teachers to start claiming their spaces. I'm sure you've seen the gymnasium. They demolished what was the old front wall, and they've got a temporary wall up, and they're working on, they've cut out an area and they're working on foundations. So that's moving along well too. Inside the building, they're moving along. I just received some samples for some epoxy terrazzo that we looked at, and it matches really well. So we can get that going. Then they can start patching the terrazzo floors. So that's another good thing. The construction manager had noticed in some of the ceramic tile work that there were a few minor deficiencies where either some of the grout hadn't been completely wiped out. In other places, some grout wasn't filling all the seams properly. They noted that to the contractor. The contractor is making those repairs. That's not unusual. In general, these contractors have been doing a very good job, and we're both the construction manager and the architect are pleased with the work they're doing. So that's that piece. I don't know if there's any questions with the progress before I move on to the next item.
I've actually been told Biter and K Plumbing are doing a phenomenal job, so I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, again, we're happy with all of them. Sometimes with low bid public work, you don't know what you're going to get. So far, they're all above and beyond what we had anticipated. The next piece would be discussion of the water line. Is that the water service coming in from the outside that we wanted to talk about?
Yes.
So similar to the electric service, with the water service, the water authority has now gotten involved, and what was in the documents was the most cost-effective way to do this, and that was we had to add a sprinkler line for putting fire suppression in the additions. That's the gym addition and the classroom addition. The way the contract documents show that is a separate meter for that service, which met the letter of the code at the time when it was being designed. But since then, the water authority has moved on to requiring 1 meter for buildings outside in a meter pit. So the long and the short of it is we can delete the water meter that was in the project for the sprinkler line. We can remove the giant water meter that's already in the building for the domestic line, and we can put all of that in 1 meter out at a pit, out at the curb. And that's what the water company is requiring. The change to this is most likely the work of buying a pit and installing a pit. The meters will probably interchange with each other, but there's going to be an additional cost that the water authority is requiring, and that's to install a meter pit out by the out by the street. We've done drawings that show what the water company, what the water authority wants. We've given them to the water authority. They've agreed that that's what they want. So the contractors now have these drawings and are going to price that change, and we will bring it to you before any work happens. But that's that piece of that. The weight room changes, they're ongoing, I believe. That was approved at the last meeting, so since then, they've demolished the wall, they've patched the floor, they've patched in where the wall hit the two existing walls. That work was done. You guys approved it, and it was done that later that same week, so they're really moving well with that type of thing. Cafeteria layout revisions, I don't know if anybody was back there lately, but that again, they started the day after you approved it, and it's well on its way. They've got the floor cut up, ready for all the plumbing rough-ins, all the walls are framed. They actually have some board hung on one side so they can do the rough-ins from the other side. So that's moving along really well too. I'm not sure what retrofitting discussion is about. Does anybody know what I'm to be talking about with that? Dave, maybe do you know? You're muted, Dave.
No, I just got the agenda this morning and I couldn't find out what that was.
So, I'm not aware of anything that's retrofitting to begin with, so if something came up at the next meeting, we will update you on that, but right now I'm not sure what that might be. Dave, I might have taken most of your report away from you, so I'm sorry if I did.
That's fine.
Do you have anything to add, Dave?
I'm not sure Mike Arnold was going to show up. I'm not sure if we have the Site Logic monthly report loaded,
Yes.
which will cover whatever Hank did not talk about.
Okay, yes, Dave, yes, Dave, I have this. And I'm gonna go ahead to site work. If it's okay, I'll read this, and then if you need to comment, you can comment. How does that sound?
That's fine. First, I have to apologize for not being there. I hurt my knee a few weeks ago and I'll be off another week or so till I get it patched up. And Nick, Kenya's actually on vacation. So we're kind of piecemealing this meeting. If there's any information you need, we will get it to you as soon as possible.
So site work, installed stone over rear parking lot in preparation for paving, and began site walk preparation for gym extension. When is paving scheduled, Dave?
Paving is scheduled for August 5th.
August 5th.
Yeah, and line striping to follow.
So we'll have all of that done before school starts.
Which will be the rear parking area and all the areas that were disturbed in the bus loop and the main drive going back to the cafeteria. All those ditches will get patched back in.
And so we plan on having a dry run with the buses
Yes.
sometime in August to make
Yep.
sure everything runs smoothly for the start of school. So Dave's gonna help us with that and the bus company. Phase 1 classroom addition, completed under slab rough-ins, completed pouring the slab on grade, began erecting structural steel.
Correct. Yes, all the structural steel, as Hank said, is set. We are waiting our delivery on the bar joist and the decking, which will follow. I think that delivery, they were supposed to be shipped on the 15th, so they're probably in transit. I can get an exact date if we need it.
Okay. Phase 2 renovations, ceilings, painting, flooring, ceramic tile installation, continued mechanics, electrical and plumbing. And maybe Dave, you can talk a little bit about the ceramic tile that we need redone.
As Hank said, there was some deficiencies, and typically the general contractor does his own punch list, and then he'll get his subcontractors to do that work, fix the deficiencies. Then we will have a punch list by the architect and myself and the school district. We will look at it, but hopefully we get everything taken care of this week. They're actually supposed to come in Monday and Tuesday to repair that ceramic tile.
And I believe the cleaning, Jeff, is starting Sunday night. Sunday, Monday, so
Yeah.
that Jeff's team will be able to get into those classrooms, so our teachers will be able to move in probably the following week. They'll
Right.
be able to-
Under the contract, the general contractor owes you a final cleaning, which means that all the debris from construction has to be cleaned. And the floors cleaned, then the district can come in, wax the floors, set the classrooms up.
That's right, that we took that waxing and that saved us quite a bit of money, so Jeff's team, of course, will take care of that. Okay, areas, oh, this is the FCS room that some of the storage went into the entranceway for the main office. So they're working with that and the art room that's over there and the band and chorus room.
Yes.
So they've been working with those.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Right now, all the demolition has been completed. They started building walls, they're hanging drywall, they're patching the drywall, finishing the drywall. We are in the process now of getting all the above ceiling rough-ins completed. The ceilings are exposed in some of those areas, so we have to get the wires and the plumbing in place before we start the dry fall painting, which is scheduled to start next Tuesday. When that is completed, the dry fall, there's some cloud ceilings that hang in there, they will be started. The flooring is actually started to be started the 5th of August, so we're real close to getting those rooms cleaned up, finished up.
And we're hoping we're gonna be very close, but those rooms may be done or very close to being done at the start of school as well.
Yes.
Phase 3 gym, pre-K, boiler room, cafeteria.
Okay, as Hank mentioned, the cafeteria, the walls are getting framed. We will have the cafeteria side completed and painted for the start of school. The only work that will not be completed, we have the interior of the restrooms to do, as well as a ceramic tile, and then hang all the plumbing fixtures. But we don't anticipate that taking more than a week or two after school starts, that we can turn those over.
And we'll still have use of the existing restrooms that are there for school.
Correct. The gymnasium, as Hank had mentioned, right now we have the structural steel foundation started. There's a big truss that goes in there to hold the existing roof up. We have to get those steel columns in, get that truss. The truss is ordered, it's ready to be shipped. Get those foundations completed so we can get those walls up. That really doesn't affect the opening of school. The only thing that really affects is the bus loop and the access to the entrances to the offices in the admin area.
Schedule wise, how are we schedule wise? On schedule?
If you look at the schedule, we are actually behind a few days. That is just because the finishes kind of overlap each other. There's no surprises as of right now, as far as materials not being on site. Sometimes it gets hairy when you get close to the end like this. But mainly, it'll just be cosmetic stuff the last 2-3 weeks, painting, carpeting, ceilings.
Let's see if I can enlarge a little. All right, so this shows money that has been spent up to this point for each of the contractors. Also mentions change orders and challenges. Oh, it looks like Site Logic is still working on the remobilization fee for the caissons rig.
Yes, yeah, that's still in discussion.
Okay, so, and then the fire service line, what Hank had mentioned, working on that.
Correct.
I think this is the change order. Those are the change orders. And I know we like to see prices.
We're still doing really well with our change
Yeah.
order totals. We're somewhere, I'm sure there's exact numbers in there, but we're somewhere in the $50,000 range. We've only
Yeah.
spent about $50,000 out of the $650,000 in change orders.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of the pieces that surprises would happen taken care of already. So,
So there's $599,461.41 still left in the contingency. Anything else, Dave?
Just that in the agenda coming up, there's some credits and some change orders, to discuss, that's all.
Yeah. And Dave, if you could just stick around till those are done,
Yes, I will.
if anyone has any questions, and then I'm sure you have some healing to do, so you're welcome to leave the meeting at that time.
Thank you.
and then, for the change orders, I thought I could just briefly talk about some of them, then I can stay up here and answer any questions, but if I can talk a minute or two, I could probably summarize a lot of this stuff. Like, change orders C and D, they lump together, that's the owner requested piece to keep one of the shower areas in the boys' locker room as a shower area instead of converting it to a storage room like the document said. So you have to look at those together. One's a cost and one's a credit. So the overall is a very minor cost. Change order E is a credit. The school districts through their supplier can get the soap dispensers that were included in the project. So they will get them and install them. So there's a credit there. Change order F, that's a value engineering piece that you can either take or not take. I wanted to talk just briefly about that. That's for the concrete curbs. What's in the contract are hand-formed curbs because they have steel rebar in them. That's the way we design things because we think the steel rebar holds up tremendously well to the plowing that happens with concrete curbs. This is a value engineering piece to follow the PennDOT spec. The PennDOT spec has gone away from that, and they now use a machine to form their curbs, and they use fiber reinforced concrete. So they've taken the steel out. So you can save a substantial amount of money by doing that. It meets the PennDOT spec. PennDOT knows what they're doing. It's a viable solution. I just wanted to let you know that's what the difference is. If you want to take it, you can save that $15,000-$16,000, or you can leave it the way they're designed. Change order G, that's a credit that the school has requested that one of the doors in the corridors that we were showing double doors. They felt that a security gate would work better in that area. So this is a credit to remove the doors. We didn't include the price to put the security gate because we thought that the school could get a better value doing that on their own. We think that the school can get the gate that they want installed for the price that the credit is. And that's not what the contractors were showing. Change order H, that was the school requested to leave the mulch and the fence in that back where the kindergarten used to be. There was a playground back there. Now it's the band area. They thought it would be a great place for the band and color guard and things to practice. So the contract had taking the fence out and making it grass, taking the mulch out, making it grass. You can save money to leave it like it is. The rear parking revisions, there's a credit to, we had a elevated concrete curb walkway back there between the existing parking lot and the new parking lot that we're doing. The school had requested we remove that because they thought it would be easier for their plowing, and you could save some money. And that's another reason to look at that rebar piece, because when that curve was there between those two parking lots, it was going to take a lot of abuse from plows. Now that it's gone, that eliminates one of the concerns that we've had with that. I think that was it for change orders.
Thank you. Well, we might want you in a minute, so we'll see. Start with the first. No, start with C.
Change order C, swinging gate. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves a change order to Leonard S. Fior Incorporated in the amount of $934.08 for the general construction work associated with deleting the swing gate and modifying the threshold to be ADA accessible. as outlined in bulletin number 6 with the credit from K&K Plumbing Incorporated for bulletin 6. The net change for bulletin number 6 is $221.74.
Motion by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Norma Krug. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, change orders D through I are all credits to the district. And as you heard, Mr. Sorry about that, was going over them. If any of you have any questions about any of them, that's fine, but I'm gonna group them all as one, and we're gonna accept them all as one, unless you have a problem, just to speed things up a little bit, because they're all credits or money we won't have to pay, okay? So we go with that? So everybody has an agenda who's here tonight, and for the public, it's all, the agenda's online. Toby said we don't even have to read them if you don't want to,
Okay,
okay?
good.
Because they're all credits. So, motion to approve D through I, which are all credits to the district. Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Anybody have a problem or question on any of that? Go ahead.
So,
Make sure you tell which one.
the one with the barbers and the curves.
Okay,
All right.
which one is that? That will be a. item F. Okay, go ahead.
My experience with concrete, we are better with rebar than that fibers, so
Okay,
I just wanna put that out there. It's up to you guys, my experience with it, so it'll take twice a use.
anybody else? Okay, that means if you don't want it to that, you say approve everything except that one.
Yeah, everything but that.
Okay, okay, so we'll do a roll call. Items D through I.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Dr. Krug?
Yes.
Mrs. Krug? Yes. Mr. Krimenacher?
Yes.
Mrs. Krimenacher? Yes, except for Athlon. Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Zenshaw? Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, we'll move on to item J.
Item J, sanitary line replacement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussing and approves the anticipated change order from K&K Plumbing Company Incorporated to dig up the existing sanitary line in B-123 to replace the sanitary main. The proposed cost will be $13,859. Attachment number 1A.
Motion, Mrs. Carol Lee. Second by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, item K, high school appraisal, inclusive of sections A, B, C, D, and E. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves an appraisal of the high school building and properties inclusive of sections A, B, C, D, and E. The appraisal cost for all sections will be $6,100. Appendix I.
Motion, Mrs. Carol Lee. Second by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, that makes motions L through P unnecessary. Okay, so we'll go to Q.
West Branch Sewer Authority, discuss the letter received from West Branch Sewer Authority in regard to the new testing requirements started August of 2025, attachment 1B. Mr. Smith.
What do you have anything on that, Jeff, that you want to say for that?
Yeah, it's something we're gonna have to do, but he was going to see, since it's all this construction going on to the facility, there's gonna be testing involved anyway, so we may not have to abide by this. So he was talking about, he tried back in a couple months.
You'll bring it to us when, okay, thanks. Anybody have any questions on that?
No, I don't have any questions. I read the letter that they sent.
Anybody
That
else?
seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. Item R, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve David Bobick LLC based on their bid to remove, replace, and dispose of bleacher boards at the Hugh Duffy Doherty Football Stadium as marked by the maintenance staff. Approximately 200 boards at a cost to the district not to exceed $12,500. Attachment number 1C.
I walk that, they need change. That's pretty bad. But we do have all the hardware, so I want those from the previous board replacement, so. To go forward.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion, Mrs. Mark Krimenacher.
Second.
So Mrs. Norma Krug. Okay, anybody questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Weight room, be it resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the Director of Finance to move $4,714.96 from the Pliget Athletic Fund to pay for the approved change order, removing the walls and patch only in the weight exercise room as discussed at the June 25th, 24 special meeting. I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mrs. Mark Krimenacher, second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Chromebook purchase, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve the purchase of 180 Chromebooks from Dell Technologies at a cost of $44,847, $249.15 each. Bids are as follows: Dell 3110, $44,847, Amcom 11G9, $46,891.80, Amcom Lenovo 100E Gen 4, $42,150.60, CDWG 11G9, $51,310.80, and CDWG 3110, $54,637.20. I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mrs. Mark Krimenacher, second by Mrs. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments?
I do.
Go
I
ahead.
have questions there. Why 180? I want to know where they're going, like where are they being dispersed?
So we give them to fifth graders, ninth graders, and kindergarten.
Okay. And how long do those last?
Those have a life expectancy of about 4 years, 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So that's where we're purchasing them.
It just seems high. I'm thinking that we did like 120 or so last year. Is this number higher than we typically purchase?
I don't think so, because we've been replacing and upgrading with those 3 grades always.
Okay, and then the seniors, what happened with those this year?
So the seniors, if they wanted to take them, they could take them, but most of them don't want them. So we keep them for parts.
Do these Chromebooks, when they're issued, do they travel with the student until the usefulness is done, like from year to year, or do they get assigned to a new student after that year?
So the Chromebooks, every summer, they're brought in, they're cleaned, memory cleaned, reinstalled, fixed, if anything needs to be fixed, and then students are given that Chromebook. But they do follow the grade. So if they're purchased for the kindergarten, then when they become first graders, they get that group, then the second graders, then as third graders, then as fourth graders. So by the time it's to fifth grade, they have expended their battery lives, extended their energy. They're at the point that it's not worth fixing them. It's more fiscally responsible to buy a new one, and so that's why we bring then at fifth grade and then at ninth grade.
My question was like say Johnny Smith gets one in first grade. Does Johnny Smith get that same one in second grade?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but the same age one.
Okay,
So it would be a 2-year-old one.
okay.
And are we still offering to parents it's like that insurance or the
Yes.
repair policy?
Yes, and we'll have that on the agenda in August.
Okay,
So the parents will have that.
and this
option.
number is
is from Chris Barr.
This number is from Chris Barr. I have all the quotes and his reasoning for why he chose that. You'll notice that he did choose one that was a little higher, but that's because it was a better quality product. So he felt for the price, that was the best route to go.
Okay, do we have any grant money remaining to pay for this?
Not at this time.
Do our existing charging stations work with those?
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. Ignite Education Solutions Substitute Teacher Agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed and approves the Ignite Education Solutions Substitute Teacher Agreement for the 24-25 school year. The daily substitute rates are as follows: $110 for teachers, $150 for nurses, and $110 for LPNs. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher, second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. ARIN IU 28 Hearing Services. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed and approves the memorandum of the agreement between ARIN IU 28 and the Northern Cambria School District to provide hearing services for 9.5 days during the 24-25 school year for the projected cost of $6,878. I'll make that motion again.
Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Second, I'm gonna get Jen. Mrs. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Jen.
So it's just 9.5 days for the whole school year?
Correct.
That's
Correct. Okay, it's expensive.
thank you.
Jerry, you have a question? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. Reluctant. Very high. Aviana Agreement, School Nurse. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed and approves the agreement with the Aviana provided LPN nursing services at $62.50 per hour as needed for the 24-25 school year. Appendix number 4, I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments?
I do.
Go ahead.
We just accepted Ignite for an LPN and now Avina providing LPN services. Can you explain the differences? there?
Sure. The Ignite is day-to-day substitute. This would be for a specific student, this school nurse. And it's possible that we notice it's on an as-needed basis. It's possible we will not need this year.
And that was my next question. How much time is needed for this LPN nurse?
This is daily. If the student is here, we will need her daily.
And this is the same student that's been previously
Yes.
discussed.
Anything else?
No.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. Settlement agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves settlement and enter into a settlement agreement and release with student A as discussed in executive session. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I'm opposed.
Motion carries.
6-1.
PSBA unemployment compensation insurance. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed and approved the agreement with PSBA to provide a program for managing unemployment compensation risks and claims for PA public schools. Make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher.
Second.
Who was?
Danielle was for me.
Mrs. Danielle Hoover. Any questions or comments?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm on the question rule, I guess.
Go ahead.
What is the additional cost for this? Because there's always an extra cost and it's not included in this motion.
What's the question again?
What is the additional cost? Whenever PSBA does something over and above what we've made agreement to, they usually charge us an additional fee. the fee is not recorded here in the agenda, so could you be?
I have to look at appendix B, I apologize.
I have it.
I have that.
I pulled it up and I couldn't see it there. I didn't notice a fee on that.
Bear with us, guys. Okay.
I don't see a fee either.
I didn't notice one when I read through it, so.
Yeah. And if there's no fee provided, then I would expect that there isn't a fee unless we use it.
I just know from years of dealing with PSBA, when there's additional services, we're charged for
It's
it.
shown as box on the form. The appendix,
Yes, box.
yeah, we pay box a small fee.
Here it is.
Have we paid this in the past, Roland? That we-
Yeah. Yeah, they handle those. Anytime there's an unemployment comp issue, they handle the whole thing. Yeah, it's the box system, yeah, and I don't know what I thought there was an attachment on there that showed a per person fee. But again, we've done that for a number of years. I don't know off the top of my head what that amount is. It's not significant.
Roll
Dr. Crew?
call. As written, no.
Mrs. Crew?
No, because I just want to know if the cost that we're paying for it.
Mr. Krimenacher?
No, I would like another cost, please.
Mrs. Krimenacher? Yes. Mrs. Lee?
No,
I'm sorry, Mrs. Inshaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
No,
Motion fails.
We'll have that information for the next meeting.
We'll put it on for the count.
And we'll still have time to get it instated.
Yeah,
on it.
I'll make sure
Yeah,
you say that.
there's no issue.
Anything else? Okay, community relations, use of facilities, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve the use of facilities and waiver of fees request from the Little Colts football group to use the field at the elementary middle school for their weekly practices Monday through Thursday, July 22nd, 2024 through October 5th, 2024. And I'll make that motion. Here, Mrs. Danielle Hoover. Questions or comments? I have one. Oh, go ahead. Well, I made a motion. Do they carry their own insurance?
Do they what?
Do they carry their own insurance? Because
They
it's
do
not
have
under
insurance.
us.
Yes, they do have insurance.
Okay,
I just, it's gonna have insurance, but then I wanted to know also who provides a porta potty for the students?
I didn't hear you.
Porta potty, the restroom facilities is one provided.
We always have one down here as soon as the season starts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carried.
Curriculum instruction.
Contract service agreements. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves the following annual contract service agreements for 2024-2025 school year that are used on an as-needed basis. And these are IU8 service agreement, Appalachian Youth Services, Adelphoi Educational Services, CAMCO Physical and Occupational Therapy, therapy and then speech, Soaring Heights School, Community Guidance Center, Extended Family Programs, and Presley Ridge Johnstown. I'll make the motion.
Motion by
for
Mr.
that.
Norman Crew. Second on Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
IU8 ESL Consortium. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves the IU8 ESL Consortium Articles of Agreement that runs July 1st through June 30th, July 1st, 2024. through June 30th, 2025. The cost of the district is $4,700. Can you explain to me why we need to do?
Let's have a motion.
Oh, sorry, I'll do the motion.
Motion from Mrs. Norman Crook. Then Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Now,
Yeah, just why we need to be part of a consortium for this.
So the consortium provides us with any additional needs that we have. We never know when we're going to have an English second language student. There may be years that we have none. This year we have one. Other years we may have 5. Someone may move in the middle of the year. So by being part of this consortium, that allows us to get training, whatever's necessary. So for example, it may be, there is always the possibility, and this happens in many of the districts, someone may move into a district that requires those services. You need to then hire a teacher, train a teacher, whatever's necessary. So being part of this consortium helps us, ensures us the access to services that we need, and also allows us to get teachers trained as quickly as possible if we need.
How many ESL certified teachers do we have on staff?
We have 1 right now.
That was
And
exactly my next question.
Yeah, we have 1 and we'll be moving her down to the middle school just for 1 period a day.
Got it.
It would be great to have 1 at the elementary, 1 at the middle school, 1 at the high school.
So this would be, this would serve as a backup.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
did you have a question?
Yes, I did, thank you. So we wouldn't have to hire a teacher if we have this, or they would provide us with services until we hire the teacher if necessary?
That, mostly they would help us provide services or help find us, but the best fiscally responsible thing would be get our own teacher trained and get someone of our own.
Okay.
How many member schools does the IUH still have? They were at 35 at one time. They still there?
I would think so, yes.
How many of them belong to this consortium?
That I don't know, but I would expect all of them. But if you want that information, I can certainly find that out for you.
I just wondered how important it is to them for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
It's important when you need it desperately. Because then if you're not in compliance, you're looking at compensatory end.
Does this, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
If we are part of this, then would it offer us the ability to, if we have a teacher who's willing to get ESL certified, can they get certified
Yes,
during the time that we're part of this consortium,
Yes.
regardless if we need?
yes, yes.
So that might be good if we could have somebody that might be willing to take advantage of that. I'm not.
So you have someone come in and they don't speak English, so they need a translator. They're automatically IEP, whether they're anything or not. They're automatically IEP.
Correct. So because of that language barrier. But there's a whole slew of things that we need to do. We also need to think about parents as well. Communication with the parents. What language do they speak at home? How do we communicate with those parents? How do we help that student and family be successful here in school? A lot of times this is from adoptions as well. Children are adopted and come to this country, and that's where you'll find a lot of need for this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. Item C. Item C, Linkit Program Software. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve the Linkit Data Warehouse Program. This allows teachers to store and analyze student data on a secure server to help improve MTSS outcomes. The total cost of $12,170 is paid from Title IV funding. I'll make a motion for
Motion, Mrs.
that.
Norman Crook. Second, Mrs. Daniel Hoover. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I do. Is this brand new?
For us, yes,
Because we have Sapphire.
this is completely different than Sapphire. This software will take our data from PSSAs, from Keystones, from Dibbles, from Acadians. It will take from Sapphire our attendance data and put that all into one thing for us. So that when we call up a student, we can see where deficits are. It will enable us to sort students in homogeneous groups, heterogeneous groups. It will allow our teachers to utilize data better. We do a very good job of collecting data, but using that data to drive instruction is where we need the help. And this program will definitely help us do that. This is something we're using the title money for, so this is not coming out of general fund. This is coming out of Title IV. And I think it will, I know it will help us to increase and reduce achievement gaps for our students. Our teachers are working so hard at trying to improve scores, improve test scores. We need them to work smarter, not necessarily harder.
I had one too, so
No,
but you guys can go,
I just
you guys
wanted
can
to-
go first.
As a reference, this is what Mrs. Gibbons, what you all have gone to, as an in-service recently, correct? Yeah, okay, that's good.
Go ahead.
So basically, it takes the data that we would otherwise have on paper, puts it into a data warehouse. And we can look at it in many different ways so that you can more quickly identify where your gaps are or, where you're succeeding. How does it, will it also help with reporting that we use for state funding or reporting that we use for
It
PPE?
certainly can, because it will have not only our academic data, but also our behavior data and our attendance data. So all of that data is useful for grants and state reporting and all of those things.
I do it first. Yeah. Okay. At the end of every year, how much Title IV funding do we have left over?
So we spend all of Title IV.
Okay. That's what I want to know, because is this going to divert money from Title IV for programs that we're going to need it for later on, where we will be using general fund money?
Title IV can only be used for specific things. The Title IV money that we previously set this aside for was for career enhancement. We wanted to have this for the William and Marshall College to come in and work with our high school students to help them with career planning. That program fell through. So we have other ways that we're going to address that. I talked about that with the new guidance counselor. We've talked about that with Mr. Pajak taking over some of that. So no, this will not divert funds. These were funds that we weren't using for career. So now this year we're using them for, or we'd like to use them for data analysis.
I have one more.
Carol
I have a
first.
question. I'd like to ask the ladies who went to the training, how easy is it to use this Linkit program?
It's not super easy to use, but we're just at the beginning stages of it. So when we were there, we went to Forest Hill for training. They've been using it for years, Conemaugh Township, Conemaugh Valley, so we were the newbies of the program. So there's a lot because it does a lot. So it is great for grants, funding to support all of that. It's great to see our student gaps where students are doing well or where they're not doing well. It's also great to see what teachers are doing things successfully so we can look at, Dr. Kruger's doing it this way and his students are doing this. So we want to go and look at what he's doing and replicate that to do more of that for the other students. So it is honestly, it is a great tool because it's putting everything all in one place so we can see all of our data at one point as opposed to having it in all these different places. So and it's nice that that's just the academic end. When you look at the MTS end and you're looking at their attendance and behavior, then you're able to see some of those other red flags. So when you see a student who isn't achieving, like suddenly not achieving well in like my high school level, maybe in biology or algebra, and then I can look back historically and see that they were. That's a red flag for me to be like, what's going on in the student's life that I need to go back and kind of dig a little bit to see like, where do we fall? Like what's happening here to get them back on track so that they all can be successful. I'm sure you have other pieces you want to add here because we all had different perspectives.
And it is user friendly. There's a lot to it. We were overwhelmed but it's a good overwhelm. We can't believe what will be at our fingertips.
Do you have access to additional training? Are you going to have
They're
additional?
amazing. They gave us their email and they're very responsive.
And they will come in and train us as we need to go, and that's part of it. There isn't any extra payment for that additional training. So as we're taking pieces like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So we've got to take little pieces and keep building on that. But it was amazing, everything that's out there, and there's pieces for parents and students, and it's something that it's gonna take us some time to get it all down. But we can start right now with enough of it that's gonna be very, very beneficial.
And we'll start small.
Yeah.
That's why we started with the administrative team. Then I want to get them trained. Then we'll have the MTSS teams or our lead teachers, our department chairs, and we'll be using it differently at each level. So high school will use it differently, the middle school will, and elementary will use it different. So eventually it will be something like, for example, I could see the elementary, all of the teachers using it because of WIN and the MTSS. As we get to the middle school level, I can see more of department chairs and data teams and the PBIS team using that. And then at high school, again, different people using it. But we're gonna take a little at a time. Nothing we're going to shove down anybody's throat. A little piece at a time, as she said, get people trained. And I think every district that has used this has touted how wonderful it is. Every district. And how they've been able to improve test scores and close those learning gaps. And remember, one of the things of our comprehensive plan is getting kids at 8th grade to that 8th grade reading level and 8th grade math level. So we know how, this will help us to know what kids we need to target. And it's not specifically for special ed kids. It's for those kids in the middle or that might fall through the cracks. And also it's for our top kids as well. So we can look to see, are we growing our top kids? If we're not, then my teachers need to look at how do we grow them more? So this is looking at all of the kids. So I think that's why it's very useful.
We were actually, even yesterday, I worked with Mrs. Gibbons, I was able to use her 8th grade data, and I could pull all of her 8th grade students from math and ELA, and I'm able to already share that with my department at the high school. So those 8th graders coming into 9th grade, those teachers will already know where they're coming from, everything that they have. So it's a great, you're not wasting time seeing where they're at, what they know, what they don't know. They're already gonna know, the results are already out.
And that will affect some of our curricular choices,
Absolutely.
because in talking with Paul Toronto, our math department chair, he had talked about there were years when we needed another math course before we got to Algebra 1A. Just needed something to bridge the gap because the skills were so low. This is a program that we can look at the end of the school year, that he can look at and then determine the following year. Do I need to put into place, what did he call it? Integrated math. Integrated math. Do I need to run an integrated math course this next school year or not? So we'll be using it for curricular reasons. We'll be using it for scheduling. We'll be using it for grouping, all sorts of things.
How much personal data is stored on this thing? And does it stay in-house or is it everywhere?
It is. It
Can
is
you
only
access
on
it
the link.
outside the school?
Can you access, only if you have a username and password.
How much personal data is stored on it for each kid?
So it would just be their basic demographics.
By their need.
Yes,
Is this an annual fee?
let me check. I think it is, yes.
Roll call.
Yes, it is an annual fee.
Mrs. Krug? No. Mr. Krimenacher?
I'm gonna have to say no.
Mrs. Krimenacher?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Zenshaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Dr. Krug?
Seems redundant. It really does. I'm gonna say no.
Motion carries. No motion. Well.
No, it's.
No, no,
Fourth grade.
carries.
Fourth grade.
Fourth, three pass.
It passed fourth grade. Next, item D.
Dual enrollment programs, be it resolved, the Board of Education discusses and approves the following dual enrollment college and high school programs for the 2024-2025 school year. This deals with St. Francis University, Penn Highlands, and Mount Aloysius. I'll make the motion
Motion
for
by
that.
Mrs. Norman Pruitt. Second by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Questions or comments, guys? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries. Item E, Ed Medham. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discusses and approves the 2024-2025 agreement with Ed Medham, providing the district's online curriculum to our students. The cost of the district is $2,505. Is that per year?
Let's make.
Yes.
a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Mrs. Norman Pruitt. Second by Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Now you can ask me a question.
Okay, and that's annual. Explain what our benefits are of having this.
So the online curriculum is what we use for our in-house cyber school. And so that's the benefit to it. So it's cheaper than them going to a different cyber school. So this is what we pay for the platform, but then there would be additional costs for each course, depending on how many are in our cyber school.
Madam Browns? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Anything else? Anything else? Norman?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, legislation and policy development. Item A, clear backpacks and clear water bottles. Discuss the use of clear backpacks and clear water bottles for the 2024-25 school year.
So we had a great discussion at the town hall. And there's a lot of people feel many ways about the backpacks, the clear water bottles, the cell phones. I think the community and administration and teachers all feel pretty much in agreement that we are looking to ban those and be very strict with that. There is a bill currently in the House, I believe, that is going to provide funding to schools. If they put it in their policy to ban, which we have something similar to that they're in their lockers, that they'll provide money for those pouches that I showed at the town hall. Again, they're not foolproof, but it looks like that there may be some money out there. What we're looking at with, and again, this isn't board policy we're talking about, this is administrative procedure, but we wanted to get the input from the public and we'd like to get the input from the board as well. How we're moving forward with this. So the clear backpacks, we have people that are not fans of those, but we would like to enforce those K-4. And I'll let Dr. Tibbet talk about, some of her reasons for that. And then with the clear water bottles, we were looking at those K-12. So maybe I'll let Dr. Tibbet just address the clear backpacks, why you still wanted to go with that.
Sure. At the elementary school, we actually have had more weapons than they've had at the middle school and high school. Believe it or not. Again, I don't think they're bringing them in to harm others. They're bringing them in to show others. But it's a major concern. I think in the past, some of you have seen some of the pictures of knives that have been brought to school. Most of the time, most likely from the fair, or they've taken it from a parent. Vapes, we've had vapes in school too. We want to keep those out of the hands of the little ones. And the other big thing at the elementary level that we deal with is stealing. You wouldn't believe how often we have issues, and it always ends up in a backpack in somebody's book bag. So it would really help at the elementary level with some of those issues. And I don't think the little ones, K-4, would be as skilled at still hiding it in there. You know, they would be more careless with throwing something in there to still bring it to school. I just think for safety reasons that it would truly benefit. And honestly, we had a lot of elementary students last year carry the clear backpacks. I was very surprised. It was nice. And we did tell them, we gave them the year we told them last year that we were going to mandate it this year. So I don't think they would be surprised. The majority of parents.
Their Chromebooks stay here for the most
Their
part.
Chromebooks stay here unless,
K-4.
yes, unless we're anticipating a storm and a virtual day, then we do set their Chromebook up. But that's the only time they take their Chromebook.
Board members. Do you have any input on this?
I would think that if you have clear backpacks and a student has something valuable in that backpack and another student wants it badly enough, you have increased the theft option.
Well, and again, the kids shouldn't be bringing valuables either. So that may deter them from bringing them, I hope. You know, we ask the kids not to bring things, but you're right, I can see that side of it too. But hopefully they would be afraid then to put that item into another backpack.
See, the only thing I see is, okay, you got a clear backpack and 5 or 6 books in there. So can you see through them books to see what's in between them? I don't see where you're gaining fully
Yeah.
with
no,
mandate, something like that.
Yep,
So,
you're right, I agree with that. That's why I said though, I think little kids though, like
Not as
more
much.
careless. You know, they might let things fall out and not be as capable of truly hiding it behind those walls. But I understand.
or you'll make them hide between them books a little bit. I mean, they're kids, they learn ways around stuff.
Is someone gonna look at these backpacks every day? Is every teacher gonna look at backpacks that are coming in with these kids?
I'm sure that they are not going to truly scan every backpack every day. But I think because, so as you can see, the hooks are there, and that's how it would be in the classrooms, because most teachers, even with the doors, keep them open for convenience. That it would still keep the kids from hiding, but you're right, no, I'm sure every day they would not, but if there are kids that we're worried about, absolutely.
Danielle, go ahead.
I would say, I don't feel strongly enough about it to tell you no. I would say that if you feel that's the best thing for your part of the building, then I would go with your opinion. You're here every day. But I also would remind others that if you go to a concert or a sporting event, you are not allowed to bring a purse unless it's clear. Think if you work retail, you can't bring a purse unless it's clear. That's been happening forever. And just to balance out the discussion, I mean, that's the world we live in now. You can't go to a Steeler game or a Pirates game or a concert unless you have a clear bag. So it must be working in some way.
Go ahead, Jen.
So I support whatever, if it's gonna make the students feel safe and the teachers, more importantly, feel safe, I would support that. But like Danielle said, I have a concern that the students then, you know, if, let's say they go to the fair and they win a night, they wear a hoodie and they just put it on their person. So then we have to have the added layer of students having weapons on their person. So that's my concern, is that it may not be in the bag, it'll just be in their pocket.
And there's no easy solution to this, and no easy answer, that's for sure. I thought, after hearing the public, hearing board members, hearing my administrators, and Rusty, our SRO, as well, hearing him talk about them. We definitely, with, you know, just regular backpacks, we are going to want them. and we do random checks. That sometimes can be very scary for a little kid. And if we put that extra clear backpack, we already have some kids complying. Will it keep 100% of the items out? Of course not. You're right, kids are kids. They'll figure out a way to do it. But maybe it'll prevent some. And so then I don't have to be wanding the elementary kids as much, which that could be traumatic for them. So, I think part of this, again, and I checked the policy on this, this is a procedure. This is not a board policy. And as long as my administrators, we decide we don't violate a board policy, we can put into place a procedure. But the reason we brought it to the public and the reason we're bringing it to the board is because we want support for it. We could just unilaterally decide, but that's not the best way to do this because it's a difficult situation. Will it be perfect? No. Could we try it for 1 year and say, "Oh, it's not working at all," and go back? Absolutely. But again, we're looking at the safety of the students. All the pros and cons. We're thinking clear backpacks at the elementary, leave them, the rest of them the other way, because then we want them more. Won't have that with the younger kids and go from there. That's just a thought.
I just want to challenge you, please, to find a sponsor within our community. Perhaps it would buy a few hundred, because not every home can buy their backpack. So if we could have that on hand, I challenge you to have that done.
Might as well talk about your bottles too, because that was another one. Same thing. My biggest thing, my biggest thing is, like Dr. Fasonic said, there was 25 to 30 people there. Only 14 were parents not having anything to do with the school district. Most of them were teachers, secretaries, administrators, 2 board members, a superintendent, a reporter, an SRO officer, and the only 14 parents who weren't involved in the school district. I wish it would have had more interest. I really do. Because it's like Jen said, it was kind of middle of the road. There was no strong feeling either direction on any of this, okay? So maybe before we make a mandated policy, maybe bring it up again in August and hopefully more people will show up and have their support because it was real middle of the road. I sat there and just listened to everybody and no one had a strong feeling either way on either one of these two things. So.
I agree. I think we're gonna find middle of the road with everyone because I think those that didn't show up, probably the majority that didn't show up, had no strong feeling one way or the other.
That's exactly my feeling that I got when I was there. So, I hate mandating anything. I don't believe in mandates for anything. But if you think it's good, try it for a year. But I don't know, mandating, it's a strong word. It just really is. And like Jen said, I mean, I know they gave us examples of these little $5 things from the Dollar Tree. They're not gonna, they hold up and they don't hold up. Depends on the abuse they get. But like you said, not everybody can afford that and they can't afford to buy 3 or 4 a year. And that's what's gonna happen. And go ahead.
Yeah, I do. I understand all of that. And again, I will do whatever you feel you would like to do. My only concern about waiting till August is purchasing for parents, because we are getting phone calls. As many of the parents remembered that we were doing this most likely this year, and then they heard about the town hall. So the calls that we were getting, we told them we'd let them know tomorrow, to call back tomorrow after it was discussed. And actually, I view the middle of the road, not too many people being concerned, as a positive. I actually was really happy because I thought more people would be upset and not want it. So I see it the other way, that because there wasn't strong feelings on it, I would love to just try it for a year because safety is our #1 priority. And then if it doesn't go well, like you said, just go back.
Well, I took it off as a voting item because I didn't see any reason to do it because I thought coming out of there, we were basically going to do whatever you guys wanted to try as administrative procedure. And with the cell phones, we're basically following our handbook anyway. Okay, so we're just going to enforce the handbook. Okay, so we don't need a vote on that. It's already there. okay? Same with the water bottles. You guys are having someone hopefully supply them for a certain amount and then, not mandating anything, just highly recommending them. So we don't really need a vote on a highly recommended item. We just don't need that. But if you require a vote, then we'll have to put it on for the next meeting.
So
I caution against that, though. I really do. I caution against the vote at this time. Okay, because mandate is a strong word that not everybody's comfortable with. I, for one, am one of them. Okay, I do not mind recommending those to anyone, but it should be their choice. Okay, Brett, wait, hold on. Board members first, trustee. Board members. Good. Norma, go ahead. Okay, then go ahead.
No, she was first. Go.
No, she said go ahead.
Because one of my comments is gonna be, I want your opinion.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you don't know me, I'm Rusty Wills.
And Rusty was at that meeting.
I was here, I was at the meeting, I was assigned to the SRO position in the school. I am 110% for clear backpacks and clear water bottles. It is such a deterrent for children not to bring things in if they know, okay, I got a clear backpack. And I've done some research too, other school districts, not in Pennsylvania and other states have already went to the clear backpack mandatory for the whole district. I didn't know, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Mrs. Gibbons? Mrs. Gibbons?
Mrs. Gibbons. I didn't know that last year there was a vape brought in a water bottle. They shoved toilet paper or paper towels into it. And the kid was going to fill his water bottle up to smoke his vape. So if I can see what's inside the backpack, see what's inside the water bottle, it's gonna deter people from, or children from bringing anything into the school. It's awesome because, she said K-4, which, that gives us a starting point. If it works out K-4, then it's gonna, what I mean, okay, let's try it 6 to 8, or 5 to 8. See if we can do it that way. Again, kids don't like being wanded all the time. It's gonna scare the children, like the younger kids, they don't wanna be wanded. So if I can see what's in their backpack as I'm walking behind them, playing or whatever to get them to class, that's gonna help me out a lot. It's gonna help the teachers out a lot. Once you get into the high school level of drinking bottles, like backpacks, I don't know how many kids carry backpacks in high school. But the drinking bottles, the water bottles, I can see what's in there, see what's in a water bottle. If they put any type of alcohol into a water bottle, besides the clear alcohols, then you're gonna know what's in that water bottle. It's gonna deter kids from bringing alcohol into school. When I was SRO before, there was incidents where kids were drinking alcohol in school. So that's gonna deter a lot of people from doing those extracurriculars in the school.
And I
That's
think to clarify, we'd like them, they can put ice in the bottles, but the bottles need to be empty and fill them up here. If they want to bring a beverage to school for lunch or whatever, it needs to come into the school sealed. And then open it in front of our SRO, principal, teacher, something like that. And the other clarification I want to make is we're not asking for any board policy at this point in time. We're asking for the board's support in these administrative procedures, because it's going to be difficult for my principals and me to say, well, we want to do clear backpacks K-4, and someone in the public calls a board member and they say, no, we don't care about that. So we're not asking for policy at this point. We're asking for support of our administrative procedures. And again, we want to hear all sides of it, because this is a difficult, it's not an easy decision. And we know you're going to get phone calls about it. That's why we want to hear your input. So if you're not going to support it, then we do need to know that, because I don't want to have my principals then having to argue with parents saying, well, board members say they don't care about it, or they don't want it. And then we're kind of stuck in the middle.
One more thing to add. So what's next? We said their pockets shut, so they can't put nothing in their pockets.
What's that?
My next thing to ask is, so what's next after clear backpack? We sew their pockets shut so they don't put nothing in their jean pockets or
Well,
pouches on their hoodies.
again, I hope nothing's next. Once again, I know nothing is 100% foolproof. I know that. We're not naive enough to think that. But again, this might help in reducing some of the issues. Helping students, families feel more safe. Some, on the other hand, it doesn't matter to them. I understand that.
I don't think,
Open it.
I just don't, like, I see it both ways, like, if someone called me, I wouldn't say I don't support it, but I wouldn't say I think it's 100% foolproof either, because I can see both sides of it, like. They're kids, so are they gonna find ways to hide stuff, even if you have a clear backpack? Yes, probably, but on the other hand, like, okay, so all the kids have a clear backpack, therefore you eliminate bullying because one kid has a prettier backpack than another kid, you know what I mean? So I think it has its pros and its cons both ways, so I can't, like, not saying I don't support it, but I'm not saying that I do support it either, because I can see both sides of it.
Well, and I think that's a fair response to give to a parent. You know, to say, well, we're trying this out, the administration wanted this, we're gonna see how it goes. I think as long as, you know, you could say as a board member, you know, we're letting the administration do this, we wanna see how it goes, but we're definitely keeping an eye on things. I think that's a fair response as a board member.
How many incidents did we have last year in the K through 4? Like dozens of them or like 3 or 4?
We've had more incidents there than anywhere else. And 5, 6,
Yeah.
5 or 6.
The same student?
Yeah.
Right after September,
What's that?
right
Yeah,
after
it's
September,
after
Right up the fair.
go ahead.
I have, 2 things about the water bottles. Again, I support whatever you feel is necessary, but I have concerns. I mean, I know students with those Stanley cups that I refuse to buy them myself, but I know that they're a thing. So I know there's gonna be pushback because they're very expensive, but it also, in the same token, maybe you can't afford that. And so if we eliminate that, that there's no competition on the newest Stanley. But I also know that in athletics, after school, it is terribly hot many times in our gymnasiums, and our kids have those water bottles and they fill them with our ice. And they could still bring them empty, maybe, we would have those exclusions, so I would wanna think about how are we gonna make sure everyone, is getting their ice, are they getting filtered water? Because not everyone wants to drink our town water, they want to have their special water, you know, so how will we resolve those questions?
They're all good questions, but I guess what we're asking tonight is to, you know, this is what the administration has discussed. Hearing you, hearing the town, or at least the members that came. And we'd like to move forward with that, so we're looking at, again, to recap, clear backpacks K to 4. Regular backpacks wherever, everything stays in lockers. Sports bags, whatever they are, we have a special spot for those because they're very big, a lot of the sports bags. Clear water bottles for everything. We had originally talked about maybe in the high school doing something different. Those kids are older. Maybe that's something we can look at and see. But if we go with, like you said, the clear, empty, have ice, then we know things are not being brought into the school that should not be being brought into the school. And I agree that we do need to find a way to provide these things to families that can't afford them. So I agree.
Everybody good? Rusty, thanks for your input.
Absolutely.
Thanks much. Okay, item B, policies open for review. Discuss the following board policies open for review. I am not gonna read these guys. You can read them for yourself. And I believe it's just the first posting anyway. So read them if you want, especially if you're sleepy. Okay?
Was
Did
there
you
any-
want to add anything to that?
Yeah, because I sent you information about them. Is there anything that you would like specifically from me to review, or if you do come across one and you're not sure, please call me. I'll be more than happy. The main difference is that in most of them, it changed from local law enforcement to just say, no, it changed to law enforcement instead of local law enforcement. Because some school districts are being, the jurisdiction is by the state police, not by local law enforcement. So that was one of the major changes. Really, that was the major thing. There's really nothing in those new ones that is of any difference. I did make recommendation and X or did a strikeout on things that I felt were not necessary. If you want to have that discussion or you feel it should be differently, please, we can certainly have that. But Dr. Krug is right. This is just the first reading, so.
Okay, everybody good with that? Okay. Item C, policy 815.1, use of generative artificial intelligence in education. Be resolved, the Board of Education discusses and approves policy 815.1, use of generative artificial intelligence in education, and reviewed and presented in appendix number 21. I'll make the motion. Mr. Daniel Hoover, questions or comments? And I do. I have talked to Toby a couple times on this. There are at least 3 sections on this where we have to appoint someone to handle part of this, and we haven't talked about it yet. Okay, this is a big deal, guys. So we do have to appoint people to handle different sections of this policy. So I'm going to make the motion to table this once again until we can have that discussion. Okay, so I motion to table item C on the agenda.
Would you like to have that discussion tonight?
No, it's a personnel thing. It needs to be done, I think in executive session first.
And I'd like our solicitor to be available.
Yeah, I would too on this. This is a big deal. This policy is pretty important.
Okay.
Going forward. So I made the motion to table.
Sure.
Second by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Since there's no discussion on a tabled item, you want a roll call? I will do roll call for the table.
Mr. Krimenacher, to table.
Yes.
Mrs. Krimenacher?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Sinchok?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Dr. Krug?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Mrs. Krug? Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, item D, superintendent's evaluation. Discuss the superintendent's evaluation in regards to measurable outcomes for the upcoming school year, which would be 24-25.
So one of the things as part of my evaluation is setting goals in conjunction with the board. So one of the problems was that currently, or the goals that I had currently, many board members had no input on that. So I guess I wanted to know, I know one of the things was mentioned that my evaluation, you wanted to base it on the building or how the building goes was the comment. So I guess I just need to know, you know, what is the board looking for, I guess, in goals in that last part of my evaluation.
That wasn't my item, so
Is there anything in specific that you'd like me to work on?
Besides the building, I'd like to see where the LinkedIn program that we just got approved and see how that works out for everything. That way, if there is like a availability to use it for grants or anything like that, you know, it's there.
Okay.
Use of school funds.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me.
Specifically,
Everything, all aspects of school finance.
but what measurable part? Reducing, not using, percentage wise?
Proper appropriations is a big one.
Proper appropriations. So putting money or spending money in appropriate categories?
Correct. Employee evaluation, especially hiring practices. That's another one for me.
And what would you like to see there?
Improvement.
And improvement in,
We can discuss that later. I'm just gonna be vague.
well, it's difficult to evaluate something that's vague, so I will need some specifics.
I'll get more specific in private.
Perfect. Anything else?
I see the building project as being something that is occurring now. I don't see an evaluation based on a building project. I see that every part of the evaluation should proceed to its most because, we're looking at the finances. Okay, finances are constantly changing, but that is not, yes, it's because of the building project, but it's also because of our school district. It has to be in relation to our total funds, in relation to the project, in relation to everything. So I don't see that the building project is dictating how we see the evaluation. I think that it is part of our daily occurrences, our daily processes, and it has to be considered when looking at all of the evaluation. It has become a part of the life here at Northern Cambria for a few years. And it affects everything on a daily basis. I guess my point is I don't see it as being isolated aside from the teaching or instructional day or the financial day, etc.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Danielle.
And in order to measure something, there has to be, it can't be subjective. It has to be objective. So we're gonna have to come up with a way to say, in the last 6 months, you have either passed or failed this, and we're gonna have to have a measurable. And as far as the finances, I'm not sure how we can do that when Laura can't spend more than $2,000 without our approval. So we are in charge of the finances for the school by our own vote. So I don't know how we can hold her responsible for school finance if we have the last word on every purchase that's over $2,000. We have to be fair about what we're judging her on. And if she fails based on a fair measurement of what her accomplishments were, then she fails. But, you have to be very exacting when you're talking about someone's job. I mean, I can't even understand what you just said, Norma. I have no idea what you meant.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Jackie.
So when we talk about the building, it was mentioned that we wanted Dr. Pasonic to, many members wanted her evaluation based on her performance with the building. And we've already clarified that if she's directed by the board to run the building project, but would it be helpful if we have input from our construction manager and our project managers, if they would provide an evaluation of Dr. Pasonic themselves? And then we could, we'll take that information and, evaluate it with our own evaluations. Would that be helpful to anyone who seems,
All input's helpful.
okay?
Anybody else? Okay, personnel.
All right, personnel, item A. Voluntary teacher. Mentor teacher. Be resolved, the Board of Education discuss and appoints Courtney Tenerovich as a mentor teacher for Melissa Mistrini for 10 hours per semester during the 24-25 school year. Per the NCEA bargaining agreement and mandated by BDE. Make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. I'll second it. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
It'll be mentor teacher. Be resolved, the Board of Education discuss and appoints Sean Nelson as mentor teacher for Justin Sedlock for 10 hours per semester during the 24-25 school year, as per the NCEA bargaining agreement and
mandated by PDE. That motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher, second by Mr. Mark Krimenacher. Questions or comments?
I have a comment. Can we share with the public what that rate is now?
$32 an hour.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Mentor teacher, item C, mentor teacher. Be resolved, the Board of Education discuss and appoints Amy Way as a mentor teacher for Pam Smith for 10 hours per semester during the 24-25 school year as per the NPA bargaining agreement mandated by PDE. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher,
Second.
second by Mrs. Norcrow. Questions or comments? Roll, or all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Item D, mentor teacher. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and appoints Jackie Gronish as a mentor teacher for substitute reading Sally for 10 hours per semester during the 24-25 school year as per NCEA bargaining agreement mandated by PDE. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Mrs. Mark Krimenacher, any questions or comments? I have one. Does that mean Ruby is a long-term sub or is she the day-to-day sub all year, like a permanent sub?
She is going to be a long-term sub
For who?
for
Okay, what subject?
kindergarten.
Okay. You know from when to when?
Yes. It will be until November 18th, 2024.
From the start of the year?
Yes, start of the year until November 18th.
Okay, then I have a question. Why is the PDE mandating for a substitute to have a mentor? Because I wasn't aware of that.
So
Because she's not here even a half a year.
That was my question. She's not a permanent sub. She's only long-term. till
Yeah, is
November.
this even necessary?
she was
Because I-
here, I believe it is, in order to support our students the best. She was here last year as well. She's here this year. We want to give any teacher some support. If they have questions about things. So, I mean, it's up to the board. But definitely, I think it's in the best interest of the students. And for any new teacher to have someone that they can go to, someone to mentor them.
Was she here long-term last year? Because you said she was
She
here.
was here for the majority of the year, so yes, it
Did she
was.
have a mentor then?
No, she did not.
Well, if she did, she wouldn't even know. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think we did not. Which was not the best case scenario.
Okay, and one more comment. I know it's going to be difficult for her to get 10 hours in by November with a mentor.
It should.
That's after school hours and whatnot.
And if they only do 5 hours, then we'll only pay 5 hours. You know, it'll be based on what they do.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Finally, boy, here's all the Board of Education hires, James Blake, Digby as a 5-hour school aide at the salary of $11.25 per hour, beginning the 24-25 school year. Make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Mr. Lee. Questions or comments? Jerry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Change
Uh,
it.
Jaeger.
Jim Yeager. I just have one question. Was he our old athletic director?
Yes.
Okay, is he filling in for a position or is it a newly created position?
This is a position that was vacated. So this is not a new position. This is filling a current position we have.
Okay, which building? Is it elementary, middle?
Middle school.
I have one more question. He was also the athletic director at Bishop Carroll. Is he still in that position?
No.
Okay, I was wondering because it would conflict with him being here for 5 hours. All right, anybody else? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Item F, school aid. Be resolved, Board of Education hires Joyce Brasco as a 5-hour school aide. The salary of $11.25 per hour, beginning with 24-25 school year. Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, is this a creative position? Because I knew one of them, we were looking to create one position.
This is not a creative position, this is still filling a vacant position.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
But I may need to talk at the next meeting about 2 additional creative positions. But I'll talk more in executive session about that.
Item G, maternity leave. Be resolved, the Board of Education discusses an executive session, approves the maternity leave for employee 3029, beginning August 19th, 24 through January 21, 25. That motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Carol Lee. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item H, building substitutes. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves the following Ignite building substitutes for the 24-25 school year. Kate Reba, elementary middle, and Virginia Hayes, high school. Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Second by Mr. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item I, sabbatical leave extension. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed in executive session approves the request of employee 2601 to extend her sabbatical leave for the remainder of 90 days. She is scheduled to return on November 18th, 2024, attachment 16. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Second by Mrs. Maura Krimenacher. Questions or comments? I have one. After this is exhausted, is she out of time?
Yes,
Totally out of time?
yes.
Is she gonna use sick days also? Because by coming into next year, does she
She will
get
get
another
10
6
sick
days?
days. She will
That
have
means
those
she's gonna
10.
exhaust those too, right?
She may choose to exhaust those all at once, or she may choose to exhaust those throughout the year.
Any other questions, or comments?
Yeah, is that a position where we have Ruby covering Ruby's salary?
I think we should wait for executive to.
We're not mentioning any names.
No, I'm just asking if that's a position or if she was, if we have someone covering it. Got it.
Choose to answer or no?
I'm sorry.
No, she said, yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
sorry.
someone in place.
All in favor?
I
Any opposed? I oppose.
have to oppose also. I'm not discussing it.
So it was 5-2 absent. Okay, so
Motion carries.
okay, anything else? Anything else, Jerry? Okay, staff development?
Item A, PA Summit 24 for educational leaders. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves the request of Mrs. Lisa Prevish to attend the PA Summit 24 for educational leaders on August 4th through the 6th, 2024 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The cost to the district will be $767.55, attachment number 17, and I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Jen Zenshaw, second by Mrs. Daniel Hoover. Questions or comments? Oh, good.
Do you receive any like continuing education credits or anything like that by attending?
Yes, I'm able to get principal credit from attending.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item B, annual superintendent retreat. Would be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves the request of Dr. Pasonic to attend the IU-8 Annual Superintendent Retreat in Hershey, Pennsylvania, September 18th through the 20th, 2024. The cost to the district will be $975. Attachment 18. Dr. Pasonic.
And I'll also be able to get back 48 hours.
You gonna make the motion?
Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Danielle second it. Did you need to ask anything else? Okay. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Anything else? Sir? Anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry, nothing else.
Student activities, item A, Adventures Club Disney Youth Educational Program Field Trip. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve the request from Chelsea Toy and the Adventures Club students to take an educational field trip to Disney in Orlando, Florida on March 1st through the 4th, 2025. The cost paid by each student attending will be $1,300 as per attachment number 19.
Make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Norman Pruitt. Second by Mrs. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments? I'm gonna guess this includes travel.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Extracurricular positions, item B, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approve the following extracurricular positions. Spring play director Jennifer Fox, 1 year at $1,700. Volunteer marching band assistant Logan Keith for 1 year for $0. And I will make that motion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Norman Pruitt. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Item C, fundraiser calendar request 2024-2025. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and approves the following fundraisers. Volleyball boosters, virtual texting, Gen Work Spirit Cell, donation letters, varsity cheerleaders, gardeners, candy bars, Karen Basil. I guess I don't know what's listed for her, but football boosters, cell phone blitz fundraiser, and Karen Messina. I'm guessing she's part of the football boosters. So, I'll make that motion.
A second.
Second by Mrs. Norma Pruitt. Any questions or comments?
The name's just underneath the category. Bryn is with the cheerleaders.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Oh, wait, do I need to abstain if I'm on the volleyball boosters?
It's not a big deal.
Okay, just making sure.
Doesn't directly.
Not if you're not
You
taking
don't
any
kids are
action.
getting money. You're good.
I tend to not.
I know. You're okay. If it doesn't make it benefit.
That's fine.
It's more giving than taking here.
Okay, transportation.
Nothing at this time.
Athletics resignation. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts with regret the resignation of head baseball coach, Mr. Brian Booker, as per attachment number 20. And I will make that motion. Second by Mrs. Maura Krimenacher. Any questions or comments?
Just like to thank Mr. Booker for his time. He was really great with all of the kids and my son in particular. I really had a nice experience with him as our coach.
Brian would love to have done it, but his work schedule just won't let it happen anymore. That's all. So, anyone else? Questions or all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, head rifle coach. Be resolved, the Board of Education discuss and appoints Chris Snyder as head rifle coach for the 2024-25 school year at a salary of $2,400. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Questions or comments?
I do.
Go ahead, one.
As it comes up, we have an assistant, rifle coach following, and that's one of our staff members. Was that staff member asked if they'd like to take the head rifle coach? Doesn't
Staff member, volunteer,
Yeah,
the staff member said that they wanted to do that position.
the second position, or
Yeah.
did he choose for the head? Head rifle, is this a new person for the head rifle coach this year? I think it is.
Yeah, I think he was the assistant last year and is now the head person.
Don't forget, the contract says when all things are equal, the teacher or staff member gets it.
I don't know.
I don't know what the interviewing criteria was
Okay.
then, but Chris Snyder might be more qualified.
And I don't know that Mr. Wenderoth wants the head coach position.
That's fair enough.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Assistant coaches, be it resolved, the Board of Education has discussed and approved the following assistant coach for the 24-25 school year. Assistant rifle coach, Mr. Fred Wenderoth at $1,440 per year. I'll make the motion. Was that one?
Yes.
Mrs. Mara Krimenacher? Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Athletic trainer, item D, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and reappoints Mrs. Melanie Kennard as the athletic trainer for the 24-25 school year. Her rate of pay will be $75 per hour as per appendix 22. And I will make that motion. Second by Mrs. Carol Lieb. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Norm.
Okay, I have a comment again. We're looking ahead at EMT services. I think the wording should be that it's one or the other, because I would think that we rarely ever need both.
So my question might alleviate your question.
Okay.
Last year Melanie only did football.
Right, and I don't see that worded here.
Okay.
Well, we want to leave the option if she could do others. We're not, Dan Pajak, of course, is in charge of that. We're not looking to have two at any event. It's one or the other. So when one can make it, we have one. Then the other one takes the other event. There's no events where we would have both. And it may be difficult to say at this point in time, she just did football. 1 year she did boys basketball, I believe.
She's on volleyball court too.
And she's done volleyball, and then the EMT took up the other sports.
Okay, I'm just looking to alleviate both of them showing up at the same event.
That would be the responsibility of Mr. Pajak. He would not have them both come at the same event.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
EMT services, be it resolved, the Board of Education discuss and reappoints Ms. Erica Anderson for EMT services at $25 per hour as per appendix number 23. And I'll make that a point or a motion. Second, Mrs. Daniel Hoover. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item F, pay for officials. Discuss increasing the pay for officials for the 24-25 school year to stay competitive with schools around the area. Varsity football would go up to $85 from $75. I'm just gonna do what they request. JV football, $70. Junior high football, $60, which is no change. Varsity JV volleyball, $90. Junior high volleyball, which is $70. Varsity soccer, which is $75. Just for the volleyball, which means it's so high, they're actually doing a lot of games in one night. Okay, so that's for everything, not just one game. Okay, so that's what that is. It's quite a long time for them. So I'll make that motion. Oh, wait,
That's not a bit.
that's not a vote. So we'll discuss that, you guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Ever since I was coaching, I thought they were underpaid. Because they all go to state college area because they make more money.
Yeah,
It's
so I
very
can
hard to
comment
get
on
them.
that too, because
Yeah.
last year I wanted them paid more than this, and I
Yeah.
thought we should have been more competitive, but that was my comment last year and it stays.
Change for basketball stays the same.
It's not on here. I guess they're not requesting an increase. Okay,
Are these requests from the,
most of these are modest increases too, by the way. They're not that much.
are these
These
from
are
the,
these are the fall sports, and these are requested
Yeah.
from Mr. Pajak.
Yeah,
okay,
and I totally support this from Mr. Pajak because this should have been done a couple years ago.
And it does help us get not the bottom of the barrel when it comes to refereeing.
We'll leave that one. Yeah.
It's a given.
Honestly, the farther away you get from Northern Cambria, the harder it gets for Northern Cambria. That's just general how it is. Okay. So let's put that on for the CoW. Okay. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, payment of the bills. Be it resolved, the payment of the bills for the month of July 2024 be approved as presented or amended, received and filed, and I will make that motion. So Mrs. Mark Krimenacher. Any questions or comments on those guys? Roland, anything you need for that? Okay.
Nope.
I know Annette requested to have this done really quickly. She's got a bunch of them to go out. So, all in favor? Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, there's an addendum for Mrs. Carol Lee.
Okay. Be it resolved, Board of Education discuss and approve the 2024-2025 a la carte items with pricing as listed in Appendix 24. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mrs. Carol Lee,
Second.
so Mrs. Jensen. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, the items to be placed on the CoW agenda will be that, referee and umpiring, pay increase, requested pay increase, please. Um,
So the PSBA unemployment.
oh yeah, it's PSBA unemployment well, to the PSBA consortium thing, or,
Oh, we have to advertise for baseball coach.
yeah, well, yeah, that was coming. But that might,
The
you know what I mean.
PSBA, yeah.
Yeah, let's put that back on.
Have some
CoW.
rates or something to attach. to
And then
it.
you're right, we need to post and advertise for a new baseball head coach. Okay, because they're gonna have some off-season stuff, I'm sure they're gonna want to do it. Anything else that you can think of? If you do, just send it in, okay? We're
I
gonna,
have one. I think, we've discussed it internally. We did get some pricing, talked about this before with the new, computers that were, the laptops that we're getting. There's a company out there that, provides coverage through the school district and Ryan, who is, Chris Barr's, supervisor or boss, has some school districts that are using that. I think Camden Heights is right now, and it's about $20 per machine, but you have to buy that up front when you buy the machine new. They don't charge anything, or you cannot add an older machine on. So it would only be for new machines. Some school districts pay for the entire amount. Some school districts are splitting it with the parents. It has become quite a chore to follow through with all of that. I mean, the problem is that some parents are buying it, that's not an issue. We have parents that aren't buying it, then it becomes an issue where we've got to chase them, fix the machines, chase them for payment. We always have the option at the end, I guess, at their senior year, if the parents or whoever doesn't pay, then we can prohibit them from certain things if they don't pay that particular bill. But I think it may be worth looking at. We'll have that information for you, but I think we need to discuss the possibility of changing how we go about that down the road, because it's become very labor intensive to keep track of that for Christmas. I think when it's all said and done, we're probably spending close to what we would be spending on this policy for services from Chris Boris CJAWS than we would be to just pay the insurance premium. So we'll look at that.
I thought we always held diplomas
What's that?
with unpaid.
We
bills.
do at the very end, but what's happening is that every year when computers get broken or something like that, right now, if they don't have insurance on the machine, Chris Barr and his team has to fix them. If there's insurance, you pack it up, you send it off, they send back a new machine. It's very quick, very easy. If there's no insurance, then Chris has to take it apart, figure what's wrong, charge the parents as to what the issue is. But then we get this stack of Chromebooks that need to be fixed in-house. And dealing with kids, especially middle school, that's one of the reasons too, we've talked about, we've looked at where the damages are. They're not happening with the elementary. Because the Chromebooks stay here. High school is not as bad as middle school. Middle school is the worst. So one of the things we're doing this year is the teachers requested that Chromebooks 5, 6, 7 stay here. And we use them throughout the day. And so hopefully that will also help reduce some of the breakage. So, we want to look at that cost, but it's expensive. Cambria Heights, for example, they buy insurance for all the machines. Then when a machine, something happens to it, they just send it off, get a new one. It's very quick, very easy. We've had the discussion at some points in the year, do we need to get more from CJAWS to come and fix the machines? Because we don't have enough for all the kids, because we're behind on them. So this, keeping them 5 through 7 may make a difference. I hope, should make a difference. That's an age where things end up on the floor more often than not. So, but it is something we need to look at.
Danielle, you had your hand up.
So what you're saying is Chris charges us to repair the,
Well, that's his time, right? So we pay for his time.
okay. And
We feel that the time that he's using to fix the computers is being paid for in the repair. So we're not losing funds on the time he's spending. We know the hourly rate that CJAWS is charging us. We know what we charge. So it's kind of a wash. We're not trying to make money on the students, but we're not losing money with him as well. However, if there are times whenever we get behind and we've got to bring somebody else in, and again, same deal, CJAWS is sending their person in to do it. So if that all goes out, if we could mandate, and I don't know whether that's a liability or whether that's allowed, but if we could say to the parents, we're gonna establish this entire program throughout the entire school, and you guys are gonna pay $10 and a year, or $10 for, to cover your computer, and there's no, you can't say no. I mean, that would be, I think, beneficial for everybody.
I think what I'm asking is, so he uses his time here at work to repair computers that could otherwise be used for other things that he could be doing. Okay,
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
I just didn't know if there was
times-
an additional fee on top of his salary that we were paying to get these computers fixed. You're saying it's just an exchange of time that he could be doing
We're
something
paying
else.
them for the entire year, and included
And
in
it's
that
taking him
time,
days of time to
he could
keep
be working
repairing.
on something else. or-
Okay, I just wasn't clear
Sure.
when you
No,
said
I
it
get
pays for itself. Okay.
Let's put that on for the conference discussion, because I have some ideas.
I know.
Jeff, do you have anything you need maintenance wise that you want to have us discuss with the CoW? Anything like that? Because you and I were talking about some heating stuff before. Maybe bringing that up and talking about it.
Yeah,
Do we need to worry about that yet?
yeah, we can start having some discussion.
Okay. All right. Let me know if you need anything. Okay.
What was I gonna say? Oh, two things. While we have Jeff, when I go to walk at the track, I've noticed there are picnic tables up there that are in pretty bad shape. You may have already seen them. And maybe you've taken care of them, but I know you have a long list. If you could, they're just, the public goes up there and it's looked kind of like a mess for a while.
Yeah, send back to that.
Okay, I know that you can't know everything about this place yet, but
Go like working with a bad power module went bad. That replaced, the light bulbs, but then all
Awesome.
replaced, but all like working on a concession stand. That's not, that's hopefully next week or.
okay, yeah, and then, I'll let you alone. The computers, well, we're gonna do an auction. If we have computers sitting around that work and we're keeping them for parts, would it make sense to try to sell them in the auction?
They're not working.
We tried that.
Oh.
Because of the age of them.
when we're saying computers, we're talking a laptop screen. We're not,
Like
we don't have a.
Chromebooks.
Yeah, Chromebooks, I'm sorry, not laptops, not, stand-up units, so. When we did that last year, we had the last time we had practically give those away. But we do keep those because the screens and things are interchangeable. Now, as the new models come out, some of the older ones that we have, we can't use, it's just using them on some of the older models, but, at this point, we're really not looking at an auction for any of that type of stuff. It's more all of those cabinets and things that were in the rooms, large items.
Just a thought. And they're probably worth more as parts than you could. sell.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, is that everything? Okay, I guess we're gonna go into executive session. So, at 8:29 PM.
On the last page of the.
We're gonna go, be resolved, the Board of Education moves to executive session to discuss students, contracts, personnel, and or legal matters at 8:29 PM. I will make the motion. Seconded by Mrs. Carol Lee.
I have one comment.
Okay, questions or comment on that?
Our solicitor's not here. If it pertains to our solicitors, it's something that has to wait.
We'll have to wait. Yeah, okay.
We go upstairs.
Excuse me?
We go upstairs.
Yeah, we kind of have to. This is too public.
That's okay.
Okay, I don't believe there's anything we're gonna vote on after that, so you don't have to stick around, there won't be any voting, okay? So thank you all for coming, and we'll resume whenever we resume. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I'll take Mike's card to get it.
There you go. That's fine.